All right. Well, welcome Freedom Healthcare family to our newest member spotlight. Today, I would like to introduce Scott Laird of Laird Wellness. He is our newest affiliate provider with Freedom Healthcare. And Scott is a naturopath and author of plant-based books and has a talk show called The Health Awakening. So we're excited to learn more about Scott and wellness ministry and what he does. So welcome, Scott.
Thanks, Julie. It's really exciting. We were just talking before the camera came on that this is such a bizarro world. Who would have guessed we'd have RFK and Dr. Oz in government with a new, food pyramid that's been turned on its head, and this is really cool stuff.
It was that part's awesome. It is. So tell me about the name of your clinic, your business, your ministry. Tell us the name and the scope of work that you do and what is it?
Sure. My wife and I, Jody Laird and myself, Jody is a health coach. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I have been since 2014. And we decided to start up Laird Wellness in 2019, right around COVID time. And that's when everybody was having a hard time figuring out what was true and what wasn't. And we decided, you know what, let's just take our skills and start helping people. And of course, back in those days, it was kind of under the radar a little bit, but now we sort of come out into the forefront. And we do primarily blood testing for people because, we found that normals are not normal when you're looking at a blood test, and people don't know what they're looking at, and the doctors have been trained not to go into depth either, so they don't know either. I'm convinced that if we taught doctors properly in medical school, we'd have a completely different scenario out there. It's not the doctors, it's the way they're schooled. These are really smart people. I don't know about you, Julie, but when I went to school, the smartest people in the class became the doctors. It's not that we have dumb doctors out there. We have a dumb system that has stopped thinking. And they're not teaching these doctors new things. And then the whole insurance thing only allows them to have 5 minutes per patient. And that just doesn't give them enough time to dive into what's real. And that's what we wanted to do, provide something that's real. Our slogan is make your health make sense. So I need someone to just dumb it down for me. What does this mean that my cholesterol isn't what you think it is? What does this mean? What does that
Right.
mean? And so I come up with all kinds of metaphors and examples and models to show people this is what's happening in your body. And they go, oh, and the lights come on. And when the lights come on, they do something about it. So that's the premise of us is just to help people understand, take ownership of their own health, which is what Freedom Healthcare is all about, right? You're the
Yeah.
CEO of your own health, which my pharmacist friend Billy Weiss says all the time. And that's the truth. And so we want to have people have an understanding of what's going on and what to do about it.
It's true because we've all, just done what the system has told us to do, and everybody really does need to take responsibility for their own health and not just pass it off to some doctor that isn't getting the correct training in school that they need. We really are, turning it upside down. So why did you choose this career path and this type of education and healing and everything you're doing?
So this started, unbeknownst to me, even 20 years ago when both of my parents got colon cancer at age 66. My dad got it at age 66. Mom is 3 years old or younger than he is. 3 years later at 66, she got colon cancer.
Wow.
And of course, both of your parents have colon cancer. That puts the target on your own back, and you start thinking, oh boy, what do I need to do to avoid this? We started looking into things, and long story short, our daughter was also diagnosed with a peanut allergy. So we were a family that was used to taking products off the shelf, reading the back, never trusting the front. And so we were kind of in that mode already. And then we were in Canada at the time. 2008, we moved down here. That I got a job with a company called the Hallelujah Diet. If anyone's ever heard of that, they espouse a vegan diet based on the Bible to help overcome things like cancer. And I saw people reverse stage 4 brain cancer using nothing but a vegan diet and juicing and all the things we know about, whole foods, plant-based diets. Now, we followed that for about 10 years and we decided that we were missing some things. And I soon realized that it's not the only way to heal. So we started teaching people all the ways that we know to heal. And there's lots of ways to heal. That's just it. There's not one magic pill. And I think people need to know that. If they're saying, well, this person overcame cancer and heart disease, and this person overcame heart disease and cancer doing something completely opposite, exactly. but all of these methods, whether you're looking at keto or vegan or any label you want to put on an eating style and lifestyle, it's all pulling away from the box, the packaged stuff, the extra processed things. It's all getting back to nature. And when we do that, lo and behold, wow, it's healthier for us. How about that? And now we're seeing that start to creep into, government spaces. We mentioned RFK, Dr. Oz, slowly unraveling that. And hopefully we have enough time to wake some people up to say, yeah, you know what? There are ways to reverse these things, and there's more than one way to do it. And so that's why we wanted to do that, is to basically teach people how to do this. And that's why Laird Wellness was born. It was basically because my parents had colon cancer. We actually ended up helping them. They had, when you have colon cancer, at least in Canada, every year they make you go for a colonoscopy just to make sure everything's okay. And every year, mom and dad had polyps, benign polyps, and everything was fine. But after we taught them what we knew, they they said, they were always into, well, whatever our kids are doing, we want to just support them. And, if Scott has a diet he wants us to follow, we'll do it. So they did that. And lo and behold, the next year, they had a colonoscopy, no polyps. First time ever. And that continued. And it still continued to this day when my mom is now 87. Dad passed a couple of years ago of a freak heart attack. But yeah, so it started with helping the parents.
Well, what a concept that we would go back to nature for our health. Like it's like God put it all in the garden, like it's all there.
Well, you know what? You know what's strange about that? If I just may interject for a bit, some people say, well, wait a minute. How come grandpa who lives on the farm and eats butter and eggs and pork and, bacon every day gets to live to be 97 years old? And I tell everybody because he had a head start. There wasn't that much packaged food and certainly no ultra processed food 97 years ago. So he started on a good foundation, and honestly, he could probably get away with a lot more. That's that's about it.
But it's true. It's like God gives us everything in nature that we need. Like it's all there. It's not the package. It's not the package. It's funny. I'll go into the store and it's a local grocery store here, and the whole front of the store is all of the packaged crap, whether it's chips or soda or mac and cheese, and everything's on sale for $1, whatever. And I walk in there, even if anybody's in there or not, I just kind of yell out, "This is all poison. It's killing you." And then walk in. I tell people, shop the perimeter. If you're going in the store, shop the perimeter because everything in the center is all processed and packaged and full of chemicals. So it's like it's pretty simple. It really is nature. It's going back to whole foods. So how do you fit into the new paradigm of healthcare that we're creating?
So, like I said, we do blood testing for folks, and we teach people to look at a normal blood test and basically give them education to say, okay, normal's not normal. You see the reference interval on the right-hand side as what's considered normal. Well, I don't know how many folks know this, but that is the average health of the average American. Those are not optimal numbers. I think when we look at that, we think, oh, well, that's optimal. That's where I'm supposed to be. No, that's where everybody else is. And that's why those numbers change. Levels of testosterone and things like this, they go down every year because everybody's going down. And so the reference interval goes along with it. And nobody stops to think that, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be there. So we look at that. We send people to LabCorp to get a 55 biomarker risk panel, is what we call it, and it's specifically formulated to work with LabCorp. So you can go to any LabCorp in America, just like every doctor sends you to, get the blood test as per normal. But then when we get the results back, we teach you don't trust those results. We'll run it through our algorithm, which then tells you what the optimal numbers are. And so we just get people to scrutinize these things. And next time they go to their own doctor and say, okay, I'm going to do a blood test next time, but I know what Scott taught me about A1C. I know what he taught me about this and that. I know what it needs to be, not what it's supposed to be, right? So we're basically re-educating people. It's sort of a re-education program is what it is. And then we direct people to, if people are on medications. Well, of course, we can't say, well, stop taking your medication, but we're saying, if your doctor's got a brain in his head, talk to him. Say, hey, I'd like to do an experiment and start changing my diet and lifestyle. Would you help me get off of these drugs? And often doctors are relieved to hear that and go, oh, finally, somebody who wants to try. right? And you'd
Right.
be surprised how many doctors actually want to do this because they don't like the system any more than you do. So they are willing to do those things. And so they get to work with their doctor and they get to see the results. And so that's just it. Having people see the results and realize that, yes, the freedom to have the health care they want is in their hands. And all they have to do is do something about it. Start questioning things. It's okay to question stuff, and so that's what we do. And we ask all kinds of questions too. Like I mentioned earlier, most doctors, because of the insurance system we have and just the way they've got to run their clinics to make any kind of money, they've got to have 5 minutes next, 5 minutes next, and just you don't get time to talk with the person, right? So what we do is we have a 110 question survey that goes along with our blood test because you can't tell everything from a blood test. If a doctor is just relying on a blood test, this is the scary part about it, Julie, is that sometimes doctors are not even looking at other things like for example, when they're looking at trying to give somebody a drug for diabetes, they don't even look at fasting insulin. A lot of doctors don't even consider fasting insulin. It's the most important marker on your whole test. They look at A1C and make a decision right there about whether you need a diabetes drug. They take a total cholesterol and determine whether you need a statin drug. Well, hold on a second. Just here's a bit of education for folks. If they're
Right.
putting you on a statin drug because you have a high cholesterol reading, high total cholesterol. That total cholesterol is a sum total of about 4 or 5 different things down below that number. And if your triglycerides are high, for example, that statin drug is not going to touch the triglycerides. It's intended to bring down LDL. Well, if all the doctor is doing is looking at the total cholesterol and determining, oh, you're above 200, you need a statin drug, it's completely the wrong thing to do if triglycerides are your issue and not too much LDL that's oxidizing. So we try to educate people to ask these questions and show them how the body actually works and then get people to make their own decisions.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think cholesterol really is a big one, and how people are told because of exactly what you said to just take a statin when that's not even the issue, but now they're on another drug. And I love the education part because it shouldn't be anymore, which we're not going to have it, is doctor patient. It needs to be teacher student. And the education needs to be done from that provider, that practitioner, to the student to start learning what they need to do something different. Because what if it really is? What if you really could get off drugs, which is true, just by changing the way you eat? But then it holds you accountable to change what you're doing for the better. If you like life easy, you want fast foods, and you cook packaged foods, well, you're probably going to be on drugs because your mindset is that. If you really want to heal and you want to know how your body works and how to heal, then you have to take that step to be a student that's learning, finding the right teachers like you that will help people actually get to that place.
You know what
And
the irony is, just by the way? So where do we get the word doctor from? So you go to school, you get your bachelor, your master's, and then a doctorate. Well, not every doctorate is in medical school, right? You're a
right,
doctorate because doctor means teacher. If you look in the Bible, even the doctors of the law in some older translations, it was those who taught, they were the Pharisees, right? They taught the law of God. And so they are the teachers. That's what doctor means, to teach. So it's so ironic that doctors don't teach.
I know. And it's like you got to be teaching so people can learn and do better. I mean, the whole goal of all of this is that people don't have to go to doctors anymore, that they can figure out their life, their health, their wellness, their lifestyle from a healthy perspective to be able to help themselves. I used to think, like, why did we call it freedom of healthcare? It's always just kind of like, why did we call it that? Well, it comes down to, if you don't have your health, you're not free. So if you're tied to medications, or if you're tied to a certain type of diet that you're stuck eating, you're not going to be free because your body is going to rebel. And then you're on that vicious cycle of trying to find a doctor that's going to give you the drugs when literally creation has everything you need.
When
So
you're
people
talking
really,
about, sorry, go ahead.
that's okay. I was going to say people really need to take ownership.
Yeah, and regarding, supplements too, people might say, well, aren't supplements just like drugs? And yeah, I would love to get people off of supplements too. But as far as supplements go, you kind of have to look at it just this real quickly is I look at it as technology, fighting technology with technology. So as technology increases where we can farm more and we, deplete the nutrients out of the soil, and then we have pollution, then we have EMF and all the rest of it, and like cell phone towers and all this. So as that technology increases, just doing things naturally ain't gonna cut it anymore. We've got to have some help on the technology side as far as supplementation goes to superpower some of these nutrients that are being unfairly pummeled on the other side because of technology that man has created for a better life that is now destroying our health.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fight, it's a battle, but we're in it to win it. How do you collaborate with Freedom Healthcare? What do you offer Freedom Healthcare members?
So Freedom Healthcare members, they can, so we're an affiliate as well, but if folks want to come to our website and you can use the code FREEDOM, you can do that blood test we were talking about, the 55 biomarker blood test. Now, if you go to lairdwellness.com, you'll see all kinds of blood tests there for hormones and this and that and some other things. But our flagship is this 55 biomarker risk panel. And that tells you everything under the sun. If you've never done a blood test or it's been a long time or your doctor does just the basic stuff and your wellness checks don't really check anything, this will cover all your bases and you'll know exactly where you stand and where to go from there. So if you use the code FREEDOM when you purchase that, we'll give anybody who's watching this $50 off. You just put in the code, you get it automatically.
Awesome, awesome. That's a huge help. So what one key takeaway or key point today would you like to share with everybody that's watching?
I think it was one of the first things we said is normal's not normal. If you're saying, oh, well, you fall into this normal range, that's not normal. Whether we're talking about a blood test, whether we're talking about, we talked about labels. First of all, I encourage everybody, read every label you're picking up off the shelf and putting in your grocery cart before you put it in your grocery cart. And that includes supplements too, because you turn supplements around. First of all, don't get your supplements at Walmart or, wherever, because there's a lot of stuff out there that is just not what it says on the bottle. I mean, here's a loophole that supplement manufacturers can get away with. When they say how many milligrams of, say, magnesium is in something, do you know that they can include the weight of the filler and the capsule when they tell you how many milligrams are in that capsule? Are you getting any magnesium? You don't know. And that's why some 90+% of supplements on the shelf are not as efficacious as they claim to be. And so you need to get them from people the folks you trust online, and you know who they are. And that's who you get them from. And you stay with those folks. Are they more expensive? Yeah, but you're going to get what you pay for. And by the way, when I say turn the label around and it says 100% of your vitamin C, congratulations. That's enough to survive another day. That is not a supplement. When you see true supplements, we have a methylated B vitamin, by the way, that has 5,000 of this, 10,000 of that, 20,000% of that. So these percentages are huge. They're truly therapeutic. Those are the supplements you want. Nothing that's 100% or below. So again, normal's not normal. That's what I want to say. And with Laird Wellness, like we say, we make your health make sense.
I love it. You're right. Normal is not normal right now. I'm not sure if normal's coming back. We want a new normal.
Yeah, we don't want the new normal they're talking about, but we'll create our new normal. Thank you very
we
much.
have a new paradigm for health. We're literally taking it back to creation. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Scott, for being with us today. Again, everyone, this is Scott with Laird Wellness. You can check him out on our website and check out their amazing wellness clinic. But thank you for being with us. And thank you, everybody watching the Laird Wellness Member Spotlight.
Been a pleasure. Thank you, Julie.